town had 1,007% increase.
Yeah.
In the shared
You
revenue,
gotta look at the number.
yeah,
Yeah.
about $50.
All you can do is laugh. I mean, it's like,
How do you think it's going over there?
we're gonna have to ask some people for.
Yes.
Can I attack your husband?
What are you gonna? I think there's nothing to discuss. I mean, it's all pretty sad, right?
I'll surprise you. I'm not gonna give you time to email your husband to build a fight against me.
He said he's staying quiet. If you have questions, he'll answer questions, he's staying quiet.
I know.
I've heard rumors, Scott, I've heard rumors. Well, plus what you had me create yesterday made me start thinking, oh boy.
I want people to be aware of what's going on, because most people don't know.
I agree, I don't acknowledge it. I got us a timer, Scott.
You gotta-
I got you a timer.
Oh, yeah. How do you work it?
I'll work it, you don't have to
Okay.
work it, I'll work it, but
In budget, everything is 3 minutes too?
yes. Yeah, we stay in there. Well, budget hearing, we don't say minutes, but I think the fact that we say time limit 3 minutes elsewhere.
How do you think this is gonna keep working out when we gotta go back and find that money somewhere?
No, I agree. I mean, I think that there needs to be some, like you said, cut some services.
Probably not that way. I don't know if your husband already said that. So I'll show everybody how this is done.
Right, exactly.
I think that I can.
You start the ball rolling.
Yeah. Yep. That's one. Yeah.
I know. Here, just my way of looking at it.
Lake County Bond Project Fund disbursement and oversight. It's not, hold on, you look and see what.
And I well,
It's too late now.
no, reality and word.
It's too late now, I can't change it.
Cause isn't he, I know, the resolution.
No, finance director.
Where are you bringing the table? Where are you bringing the table?
I don't think it like four.
Got it.
What are we doing?
You're bringing tables in the back.
Why are we bringing tables?
Department head.
I have no idea.
I haven't returned mine. I picked one up in the library yesterday.
The here was city hall. I don't want, I got one. He's got 25 of them, you want one of his?
Make my own library.
Scott, are you appointing that, custom?
There's like,
Are you seeking the blood custom? No. Oh, no, I went to. It's a resolution today to assign Dana to do the thing, we don't need another committee when I figure it out. We already have that, I'm gonna keep it at UW extension, they're already not to go for the next grant, okay? You know, I'm gonna assign, it's coming, gonna report to. Going to be our project managers. I told them, okay, read it. There was no sense creating another committee to oversee another committee. We didn't need another committee. But county board can check.
I just want that and ask her to go on the.
I forget which
Make
resolution.
sure it's working good.
Billy, 104. 104. Yeah.
go through this, I can do this, we can have a discussion.
No, I get that, yeah.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm sure about the protection runs,
Exactly.
because everyone has different ideas. And thinks it would be awesome, thinks it would be a complimentary piece. And then the cost, they're,
200 grand.
yeah, depending where you go.
Well, you look at this sheet right here. Yeah, 200 grand.
Not good timing when you're doing the budget,
I
right?
know.
Another blue book.
Got one, library after
Yeah. I just peeked in. I tried to go to that thing at the library and I got down the hallway, couldn't even get to the door.
No, I couldn't, no.
Was that for Stranger?
And you can hear.
I know he was in the Napa too. I think.
Yeah.
The last one they had, I went, there was probably 12 people.
Oh, I know.
What was more, what happened at this one that there was so many people?
We discussed it. It was all the boat people. Wake boats.
It was about,
Yeah, and we talked about it.
Talking about the wake boat when you drive around the night, like all the quarter.
we talked about it earlier. Okay.
I don't know what's talking.
Well, I know that it's more. Typically, they would be. I think they're calling it regulations on your. Oh, yeah, in our town. Everybody wants a man.
That's your parent. Of that bluer.
I didn't know that.
Through the island.
Yeah, it's during the shooting house.
It hasn't been there this summer.
Yeah.
Is it where the street lights are on?
It's on every corner.
Yeah. What I saw was, other phones or something.
No, this is not every corner downtown.
My only issue is
Some of the corners have.
I'll ask.
and I may be.
It's like every time I see him sing, I swear that is.
We sold all the land to China.
What are that other things? I shouldn't bother paying for the
He's built soon in the town.
Is.
Yeah, I think we didn't throw it out. We have some meeting, in January. These are, I mean, I know.
I guess look for, I haven't decided on.
I don't understand those.
But virus and,
Said it's.
Ford, like I thought that.
Everything was live.
Yeah, company. So we don't have this comedian.
And you bring up a good point, but I think they were good.
Casual better, yeah. I wouldn't.
Tiffany thinks that we gotta try that. I read by either 40s arena, there's a little bit.
Well, the bad thing is nitpicking on all these people when it's done.
Absolutely.
That's why when people call.
And they're buying, the guys working on mine, trying to work on mine,
You had this guy, he doesn't feel like college. How can I tell anyone they should even recognize him?
So I don't know where it's gonna go. Yeah, he said I should get a whole way for
I have to
it.
find out about those roads and
You get a copy of it?
I don't read it, just sign it.
Which one?
Yeah.
Signature there.
On, that's a 14, clear, between Highway D and 47.
I did just, yeah, state four. Back to those guys. We've got
The table.
180 that's just on the north side of the farm. I guess we started back to related. Yeah, I got that. And everything to the north there. I just.
Yeah.
I think
it was, yeah, except they didn't leave a buffer with the road, which are not, no, they leave the line.
Yeah.
Pretty much your own.
No, I would guess. Ninety-four.
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence. I don't know.
But I think that's. Okay, that's why they don't have it this summer, how it works, so they just have to change their plan. I had to be committed and. Yeah.
It's very, you know, I wanna say there.
We do a great job. Great. They did it well, in applied university, not just.
I struggle with the, you know, I spend money.
They were gonna be a survey, from my understanding.
I don't know, it's just.
Half of this.
So we got that, west, so it's just west.
Yes, they are. Man.
So that.
They said they showed me how
So I'll.
Yeah. Give it to me.
That's super sales.
See, there we go, that's why we should keep using
I don't. But thanks. I appreciate that.
Probably. I knew I was gonna say. But I hear.
Right, yeah. Take a load off your mind. It'll give you a
Just cut his butt. Yes.
I don't, it's never. Can be counted. I don't want.
You know, like. Especially after. You can go by line. Stop it. Oh, yeah, it's like, I mean, but I wanted you to know that.
Oh, okay.
People don't care.
Probably a lot.
I mean, I think that's fine. Yeah. I don't know that I was. No, we don't need that.
There, no. If it does, I feel.
Which.
Remember last year, so I'm like. Yeah. Yeah. I heard. There was little sections. People and I said, I'll stand here sideways with mine. I was like, I hear it all. There, no, now it's mine.
We didn't honestly do well. But I think it was.
Look, that I don't have it stuff.
You both know that. Tracy, this back. Yeah. Perfect. Except, there's that. What's that?
Color, it was John. Yeah. There.
It's more about energy. All right, at 9:30, we're gonna call the regular meeting on order to order. Be a brief moment of silence for our troops, law enforcement officers, and emergency responders, followed by a prayer invocation and the pledge of allegiance. Is there anybody who would like to do a prayer today? Jim? Okay. Yeah.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity to come to you. Lord, we ask for your wisdom as we make decisions that affect the people of Oneida County. Father, we pray also for our law enforcement, our emergency care workers, and our troops that protect our freedoms. And Lord, we ask these things in your precious name, in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the clerk will do the roll.
Joe Walker. Kelly.
Morning, Tracy.
Good morning. Newman. Good morning. Good morning. Dryer.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
Condado. Here. Briggs is absent. Oettinger.
Here.
Harris. Here. Winkler.
Here.
Benson.
Here, and it's National Seatbelt Day. Yes, I'm quite good.
So give me.
Reno.
Good morning.
Good morning. These chairs.
Sorbo. Here. Roach.
Here.
Timmons is absent. Reed.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's just Bryden.
Here.
Almakinder.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Cushing. Tom Lawinski,
Here,
18 present, 3 absent.
18 present, 3 absent, we have a quorum to conduct business. Announcements will be for everybody to use their microphone when speaking. At 9:45, we will start the public hearing on the 2024 budget. We will not debate the budget until we get to resolution 110-2023. Item number 4, accept the minutes of October 17th, 2023.
So move.
We have a motion and second. Any corrections or changes to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor signify.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, all ayes. Item 5, treasurer's annual report.
Oh.
So I have presented you with my 2023 annual report. Nothing real standoffish from any other year.
Tara?
Yeah.
Can you adjust the microphone so? Everybody here?
Better versus not.
It's on.
Does anyone have any questions for me on the report?
Any questions? Supervisor? All right, thanks, Tara.
Thank you.
If we will go over to item 7, public comment. Is that- No, that's fair. Oh, I'm sorry. Human service structure report, Mary.
Good morning. You should have all received, my, report for the end of October, early November, on the progress we're making as far as the human services structure in Oneida County. Really in the last month, besides doing updates, the focus has been on looking for a consultant and looking for the funds, to pay for the consultant. So that's been a big part of that. The other thing that my staff are doing internally is surveying other counties that are our size. And really that's just information gathering on how they're structured, how do they work with other counties? What if they could redo a human service structure, what would it look like? Really just looking at, those other experts in the field and just getting some feedback from them. So we're actively involved in that. And then the one thing that I missed on the update is that we also, the county board chairs from Oneida, Violet, and Forest County, did put out a letter to Human Service Center staff. And so that was, sent over to the Human Service Center early last week, and I think was delivered on the 10th. To those staff, so the staff at Human Service Center should at least receive that letter, from the 3 county board chairs, just kind of explaining, what we're, why we're looking at restructuring, and that to really indicate that, the need for staffing now and in the future is still there. That's not something that's going away. We're not looking at eliminating or reducing, services, or jobs, within our 3 counties. So unless there's any questions, that's really, my update for this month.
I just want to make a mention that I saw your guys' letter, Scott and Cindy, and I thought it was very well written letter. Thank you very much.
Mary, is there a backup plan in case the human service kind of falls apart on us and we're supposed to supply the service even though it's under contract? Is there a backup plan?
Yeah, we're always talking about that, because we worry about staffing that, we've seen that happen within the counties. Where we have really low staffing, we have to help each other out. So we have, fortunately, the Department of Health Services, regional office right here in Rhinelander. So we have those state employees to reach out to, about that. And so, yeah, we have that in the back of our mind, there's no written plan. Should we have to, absorb a service or a program, we're certainly hoping that that doesn't happen. We would hope that services can be maintained, and would be maintained at the Human Service Center in 2024, and then beyond, of course, as we're gonna need those services going forward.
Any questions for Mary? All right, thanks, Mary.
There's a truck parked in our parking lot that the work crew needs removed from the south side parking lot. It's a black Chevy 1500 crew cab, license plate FR 9302. If that's one of us in here, we're hoping we can move it.
All right, let's go on to item 7, public comment. Is there anybody in the audience wants to make a public comment? There will be a public comment section during the budget hearing for the budget separate. Lisa?
Good morning.
Morning.
I think you all know me by now, but if not, I'm Lisa Joel, I'm a management celebration for director. And I just wanted to make mention of all the projects, the major projects we've completed this year, with the big dollar signs. I think it's important to thank the Public Works Committee for their continued support as the department continues to grow and look for positive, efficient changes. But I also think it's absolutely necessary to come before you guys and thank you for recognizing the need and approving the funding necessary to make these improvements. Following today's meeting, we're gonna have a little open house. If you'd like to come out and see what's been done for yourselves, I appreciate it. So, thank you.
Anybody else, public comment? I am, we don't have enough time for item number 8. If the,
I'd like to make a motion on number 8 if you want to hear it.
sure, go ahead.
I understand 8 deals with that SWOT analysis, looking at coordinator and other positions. I would suggest to make a motion to forward to and direct the administration committee to come up with options, costs, and structure for the county board to consider based on the information. It could be just administration, it could be administration and LRES.
So is a motion for both committees? Or is the motion for the administration committee?
Scott, he made the motion for just administration and there's a second over here.
Okay. All right, we had a motion and a second for the administration committee to look into the administrative structure of the county.
And bring options back, just discussion point, if you want to set a target date.
I don't think we should. I don't know how long that will take. We don't have a meeting in December, so I am aware if we create this, send that to you in a minute, that we'll have something in January, some type of report or direction or February, but I don't think we should set a date. I think it needs to be studied. Any questions? Jim?
Yeah, I just, Billy, I just want to ask, so any comments that we were planning on making today, we should just bring them to your committee instead? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, I believe it would be more productive for the information to be digested in committee and then laid out in different options and costs and structure. Instead of us, and I've been through it before, and so has Mr. Jensen, where we spin around on a day where we have a lot to consider.
Okay.
I think it would be beneficial for all of us.
At the October county board, the motion was made to bring the subject back on the county board in November. So I think what Billy is supplying is that a committee will bring back recommendations to the county board. Any further discussion?
Just from your perspective, does LRS need to be officially part of it? We can do it.
They can be called on if they're needed.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Hey, clerk will call the roll.
Rio,
Yes.
Harris. Aye. Sorgo,
Aye.
Condado,
Aye.
Ryden,
Aye.
Almakinder,
Aye.
Timmons, Winkler,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Roach,
Aye.
Ottinger,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Cushing,
Aye.
Schreier,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Newman,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Kowinski,
Aye.
18 I, 3 absent.
18 I, 3 absent, the motion passes. We will move on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Here, a motion and a second on the consent, is there any discussion on it? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Almakinder.
Aye.
Winkler,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Rio,
Yes.
Ryden,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Schreier,
Aye.
Ottinger,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Sorgo,
Aye.
Newman,
Aye.
Cushing,
Aye.
Harris,
Aye.
Sedado,
Aye.
Roach,
Aye.
Kowinski,
Aye.
18 I, 3 absent.
18 I, 3 absent, consent agenda passes. Just about voting. All right, it's 9:45. We're gonna continue with the budget hearing on the 2024 budget. Okay. The budget process started in July to September. Departments worked with the committee of jurisdiction to prepare the budget request for the next year. In October, the administration committee held public hearings to review the budget request in detail. At the hearings, $1.4 million in cuts were made. Of that, $785,000 was expenses and $615,000 was added revenues. Today is the full county board hearing, so we may debate the budget. Any supervisor may make a motion to modify the budget for 2024. You can make a motion to add to the budget or a motion to decrease the budget. Highlights: the total budget is $67 million for 2024. General fund operating budget of $32 million balanced without having to tap any fund balances or rainy day account. The capital improvement plan for 2024 is $4 million. This includes over $1 million in highway construction projects, and also starting in 2024, we will be initiating projects through the Wisconsin DOT, STP, and local bridge program. Over a 3-year period, the county will benefit from improvements exceeding $6 million in value, with one local match at just over $1 million. The American Rescue Plan Act relief funds accounts for $6.9 million in projects which begin in 2022 and will continue into 2024. In 2024, we will be using ARPA dollars to replace patrol trucks, and will continue upgrading our information technology systems for improved security and enhanced business efficiencies. Positive things about the budget: it's robust revenues going into 2024. Equalized valuation increased 22%, which included new construction. Interest, sales tax, building permits continue to beat historical trends. The use of ARPA and other federal funds has greatly benefited Oneida County and their capital projects over the years. Challenges for 2024: as an organization, we need to prepare for when the economy slows down and federal funds run out. Personnel costs account for 46% of the total $67 million budget. Retention and recruitment are current challenges we have, and we don't see the challenge changing moving forward. 2024 budget proposal includes a cost of living adjustment COLA of 6.26%, consistent with the Wisconsin Employment Relations Commission, to keep up with the market. Note that over half of our employees will get an additional 2.5% step increase also. I had the clerk send out a graph that I had made up so that wages and benefits, so the county board can take that and review it. And if you look at it in 2022, our wages and benefits were $23,920,000. In 2021, that increased 290,000. Our levy limit was 113,000 plus, which means we had to find $176,000 in our existing budgets. 2025, that increased another 830,000 with our levy limit of $148,000, which means we had to come up with 680,000 in our existing budget. 2023, we initiated taking employees from 1950 to 2080 that weren't on 2080 hours. Our budget increased $2,260,000 with a levy limit of only 177,000. So now we had to find 2 million in that year's budget. Proposed 24, we're going up to $30,550,000 wages and benefits. That's a $3,250,000 increase in wages and benefits. Our total levy limit is $189,000. So somewhere in the budget, we had to come up with $3 million. Every year moving forward, we have to find an extra 6 million now in our existing revenues to cover employee wages and benefits above the levy limit. Also, future costs of living adjustment. The concern would be what happens if we lose jail revenue, interest income goes down, stumpage, zoning permits. We need to plan for that type of thing. So there's another employee problem that will affect our budget in 2026. The deputy union contract, which was made for 4 years, 2022 through 2025, will ultimately reflect the increases we've given the non-union workers over the past. And on that same thing, I supplied you with a graph showing that basically the deputies get 2 raises in a year, one of 2% at one point and 6 months later, 1.5, which comes out to about a 2.52% raise. And as you can see, when you gave the non-union workers 7.17% or 6.26, there's going to be a catch up in 2026 and 27, 28. Something to look forward to. County leadership needs to work on a long-term plan of workforce affordability. In 2023, this county board increased all employees that were on 1,950 hours a year to 2,080 hours a year, with the intent to reduce personnel moving forward and comply with federal labor laws. That approximately added 8,900 hours to staff at a cost of about $278,000. As of today, only one position has been eliminated, and that was in the clerk of court's office. Note that staff that remained had their wages increased for this savings, so it wasn't a full position savings. Departments were to work together to justify the additional hours that were increased. Human Service Center. The Human Service Center has been receiving $1.8 million in tax levy annually from Oneida, Vilas, and Forest counties for years. They have grown their fund balances or tin cans to over $5 million. With their annual operating budget of $10 to $11 million annually with grants. They have been eliminating certain services which place added burdens on the sheriff's office and social service department. The three counties have notified the Human Service Center that the current arrangement will cease December 31st, 2024, and therefore there is no new 2024 funding for the Human Service Center included in this proposal. The contract with the Human Service Center is from the late 1980s and it's time to determine how we, the county, can provide client services in the most effective and efficient way possible. We had done a strength and weakness, opportunity, and threats analysis regarding our current management structure. At my direction, a seed amount of $200,000 has been included in the contingency budget for 2024. So we have the time and resources to make any changes moving forward. As a board, we need to determine if the best path forward is creating a county administrator or making modifications to the administrative coordinator position that already exists. Even though the budget seems to be a sound budget proposal based on the highlights and challenges for the new year that I presented earlier, we can pass it today knowing there will be big challenges for future county boards to address. Or we can start that process today and address what our core services are that the taxpayers require and eliminate non-core services which will reduce the number of employees and benefits. I appreciate the hard work that has gone into preparing the budget for the county board today. I encourage the supervisors to ask questions when we take up resolution 110, 2023, and make any amendments you feel strongly about. Now, with that, Tina, do you have anything else to add? And Tina will ask any budget questions.
Good morning. I think you covered everything, pretty thoroughly, so if there's questions at this time, I'm happy to field those or come back when, resolution 110 is considered.
Any questions on the budget? Jim?
I have kind of an overall question that, and I don't know if you can answer this from there or not, but I heard the governor's office was talking about the sales tax, and reducing a percentage of the sales tax county or, an expansion of the wars and facility or something. How would that affect them?
At this point, I believe that that's just been governor's office discussion, that there's been nothing that's been brought forward to the General Assembly, unless someone else knows something I don't know. But we will certainly continue tracking that through the WCA and some of our other resources, and should there be changes in any legislation, we would bring it back to the administration committee and then ultimately the full. But there isn't any anticipated impact on the 2024 budget at this time.
2024, don't have board. Okay.
Rob?
Mr. Chair, I think from some meetings I've attended, there's very strong support of both the Assembly and the Senate for maintaining the percentage that comes to the counties through the shared revenue bill. That'll be in place for 2 years. And it just sounded like all the groups that worked on that, pretty unlikely when you get to the next biennium that they're going to reduce it. And we need to continue to see whether or not it should be increased with more funds.
Any other questions for Tina? Okay, Billy Freed, the chair of the amendment, do you have any comments on the budget?
Just that you spoke to the challenges that are out there. This budget doesn't really change the challenges that lie ahead, but I'm very proud of the committee members, even the department heads that all work together to make it work. We sat down with quite a bit of deficit, and I think we positioned things to cover any challenges that can come our way in 24. And we'll talk later where I have a couple ideas or a motion I want to make as far as change in strategy for 24, but that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right, at this time, we're gonna open a public portion of the public hearing for comment on the budget. You're allowed 3 minutes. Anybody on the right hand, my right hand side, public comment on the budget? Nobody, how about on the left side? Anybody public comment on the budget? Oh, must be a good budget, huh? All right, we're gonna close the public portion of the budget hearing. And we will take on the resolutions at this point. Resolution 103, 2023, rezone petition number 4, 2023, offered by the supervisor of the Planning and Development Committee, recommending denial of rezone petition 04, 2023 in Minocqua, Wisconsin. Carl?
This was a rezone request in the town of Minocqua. The town of Minocqua acted upon this rezone petition and denied it. Or recommended denial of the petition, or recommended denial of the rezone petition. It was forwarded to the Planning Development Committee. The Planning Development Committee held a public hearing. The applicant at that time stated that the town of Minocqua may not have had all the information presented to them. The Planning Development Committee then forwarded it back to the town of Minocqua. The town of Minocqua then sent an email back to us saying that the denial still stands, so they did reconsider the rezone petition. So the Planning Development Committee, basically is recommending denial of this rezone petition. How denials work is that, we draft up a report to the plan, or to the county board. And the county board has to accept that report with those findings. If there's any technical questions on it, again, there were, people that appeared at the public hearing, neighboring property owners that were in opposition. This was to go from single family residential to multi-family. And again, people are concerned about possible multi-family developments that could take place on a property, plus they have traffic that may be coming on a private road south of reasonable, reasonable. So if there's any questions, I hope I can answer them.
I would like to just add that, on line 54, if the county board were to pass a rezone in a town and the town board is against it, they have a 30-day right to come back and turn it. So if the town board is not in favor of a rezone, the planning and zoning committee will not approve it. Any questions for Carl? Jim?
Can I make just a general statement about this? Mike, and I have nothing against what's going on here, but we face, as I understand, in Oneida County, we're facing a housing shortage of affordable housing. And I think we need to be careful when we have these, and I guess planning and zoning, when you have these things coming forward. If we have towns or whomever are bringing these requests forward to try to provide for the shortage that we have, we should be thinking about those. Not saying that this one is good or should not be, but just generally, we need to kind of keep that in the forefront because there is a shortage in our community, from what I understand.
Answer your question, Jim. This is a rezone petition, not a conditional use.
So I know, I
And
understand.
so what you're saying is part of a conditional use process, not a rezone. But the town does control their zoning in there through the P and Z committee. And the statute gives them the right, if they're against it, they would just overturn what this board, if we would approve it, they would just overturn it in 30 days. So there's no sense moving ahead on wasting time. Any other questions on this? All right, clerk will call roll on resolution 103.
Schultz,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Dotto,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Winkler,
Aye.
Roach,
Aye.
Ryden.
Aye.
Dryer,
Aye.
Olmekender,
Aye.
Rio,
Aye.
Cushing,
Aye.
Newman, or Sorrel,
Aye.
Ottinger,
Aye.
Harris, Fisher,
Aye.
Kowinski,
Aye.
18 aye, 3 absent.
18 aye, 3 absent, resolution 103 passes.
Thank you.
Resolution 104, 2023, offered by Supervisor Scott Holowinski for Oneida County Bond Project Fund Disbursement and Oversight. I'll need a second. Second by Ted Cushing. I'm actually gonna read this resolution into the, whereas Oneida County guaranteed a bond issuance in the amount of $24 million for Bug Hustle LLC on June 20th, 2023. And whereas relative to the bond issue, Oneida County will need to monitor progress and authorize the disbursements of bond proceeds. And whereas it is not in the best interest of Oneida County to create a new committee. And whereas the Oneida County Economic Development Committee has been a high-functioning team for many years, rely on the expertise of various members with technical expertise. And whereas the Oneida County Economic Development Corporation was the main contributor to moving middle mile broadband expansion forward in Oneida County. And therefore be it resolved that the Oneida County Economic Development Committee shall act as an advisory entity to provide recommendations to the Oneida County Board regarding future funding opportunities and grants to complete broadband expansion throughout Oneida County. And be it further resolved that the Oneida County Board Chair will assign a county board member that currently serves on the Oneida County Economic Board to report monthly to the Oneida County Board updates on the current broadband expansion progress progress in locating grants and funding for the final mile broadband projects. The United County Economic Department recommendation on broadband resolutions. Be it further resolved, the Oneida County Finance Director is appointed to oversee and approve any disbursements of bond project funds as provided in document 2 supplemental series loan agreement number 2, series 2023 bonds, section 1.10, using the exhibit B as attached hereon. And be it further resolved, Oneida County should retain a project manager to report to the Oneida County Finance Director on progress of the broadband project and prior to the disbursements of the bond monies, and to update the Oneida County Economic Development County Board designee described above. After reviewing, we talked about creating broadband committee, but after reviewing with different people on a subject, I felt there was already a committee that we didn't have to create another committee to oversee the first committee. This resolution does 3 things. It assigns who will continue with funding for the final mile. It appoints who will oversee disbursements of the current bonds, and it appoints a project manager for current bonding project looking out for the county. Are there any questions on the resolution? Steven?
In line 39, it says that if be it further resolved, Oneida County shall retain a project manager. At what expense?
Say that again, Steven.
We will retain a project manager. At what expense?
The project manager, you're asking who's that's gonna be, or?
I don't care who it is. I want to know what it's gonna cost.
I don't know if I can answer that question.
Then I'm gonna move that we strike that, because I'm not voting on something to create a position if I don't know what the cost is.
Is the sheriff present? Grady, can you go up there from here? I told you twice, I'm gonna get you the front of the house. Brady, right now, we hired Sweeney and it's being paid through your office and we are, I believe, reimbursing through the ARPA fund for this.
Yes.
Okay, how much do we pay, Sweeney to oversee the project?
How much money per hour? $57 an hour. $57 an hour.
Okay, so that's what we would be paying him based on, because we're already paying him through the sheriff's department to oversee right now. He would be overseeing for the county board, the whole project at $57 an hour.
But we don't have any idea what ultimately that could cost.
Go ahead, comment. You don't have to whisper to me.
And and Scott asked about this earlier. These expenses are expenses that we're gonna be billing back, that would be billed back to Bug Tussle. So John Sweeney has been handling the, I guess it was essentially project management prior to this, with the administration committee being paid through the sheriff's department. This would be along with various other expenses like bond counsel that the county has asked for reimbursement for, and for this type of consulting. These are things that would be reimbursed out of the bond funds. And so it is anticipated to be a revenue and expense, well, an expense neutral item.
Thank you.
Stephen, I did ask him the question you're asking for fiscal impact, and that's the statement he gave me. So when you ask me how much an hour, I don't know. Okay. Any other questions on the resolution? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Cushing,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Harris. Aye. Newman,
Aye.
Condado,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Winkler,
Aye.
Ryden,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Roach,
Aye.
Dorval,
Aye.
Rio,
Aye.
Almakinder,
Aye.
Schreier,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Oettinger,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Halwinski,
Aye.
3 absent.
18 aye, 3 absent, resolution 104 passes. Resolution 105, 2023, offered by Supervisor Billy Freed, request coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund allocated to Oneida County through the American Rescue Act Fund for the purpose of replacement of Polycom video conferencing in courthouse systems. We'll need a second on the resolution.
Second.
Okay, we have a second, Billy?
Jason, if you want to come up here, this is just part of the ARPA process. The money was allocated in 2023 as an ARPA project. It's been vetted by IT, brought to administration. They're ready to purchase, and Jason's up here to answer any questions. This resolution then is this next step in the process where the money is actually, we're allowed to cut the check.
Jim? Jason?
Yes,
How long has this lasted?
I believe that was installed in 2014 or 2015.
So we can get expect about 5, 7, 8 years.
We could expect that or better on this new system.
Can be better.
It could be, yes, sir.
Even.
Jason, if I'm not mistaken, this was budgeted at considerably more than what's proposed here, and could you just explain that?
Sure, that's correct. We originally got a quote from the original vendor, ABI Systems. And they've been supplying audio video to the courthouse and to the sheriff's department for several years. To do the 2 courtrooms and 3 rooms at the jail, it was approximately $200,000 that they were offering. When we started to go through the system and determine what was needed and what was there, we found some discrepancies of the equipment and what's available now as to what they had quoted. So we kind of went out to other vendors to find out what else is out there that can accomplish the same thing. And we found a great vendor out of Minnesota, and we're saving about $143,000 on the project.
Any other questions? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Rio,
Aye.
Condado,
Aye.
Newman. Aye. Strayer,
Aye.
Winkler,
Aye.
Harris,
Aye.
Oettinger,
Aye.
Freed,
Aye.
Almekender,
Aye.
Cushing,
Aye.
Ryden,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Roach,
Aye.
Sorbo,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Halwinski,
Aye.
18 aye, 3 absent.
18 aye, 3 absent. Resolution 105, 2023 passes. Resolution 106, 2023, offered by Supervisor Scott Halwinski to create a county transition oversight panel of the Tri-County Human Services Board for continuity of services following the December 31st, 2024 withdrawal of the Forest, Oneida, and Vilas counties. The resolution is before you. Oh yeah, I need a second on the resolution.
Second.
Jim, okay, we have a second. Is there any questions on the resolution? Anthony, Tony.
Line 31, none of whom serve or have served on the Tri-County Human Services Board. What is the thought behind it?
There's a current human service board. I think there's 14 people on there. Is that right, Ted? There's 14 people on there. I think there's 7 are appointed by the 3 counties and 7 are citizen members appointed by the board. Nobody who sits on that current board will be on this committee. This will be a separate committee made up of 4 people from Oneida County, 2 from Vilas. And what I expect it's going to be is the finance director, social service director, sheriff. And they will, and then there's an attachment for the, county transition oversight panel. It lays out all that we're expected of that panel to watch out for the county together. I've had discussions with the chair from Violence and the chair from Forest, and we all agree something had to be done at this point to oversee what's going on.
It seems strange to me, and maybe I'm misinterpreting it, probably I'm misinterpreting it. That we're talking about, bringing these services on from the Human Service Board, but we're not seemingly including people who are pretty intimately aware with how that operates and how they work day to day, I just wanna make sure there's not a loss of knowledge there by not having those individuals on that or ineligible for that.
Well, the current structure of the board is we each have, but there's 7 that are assigned by the counties that vote for the county, and then there's 7. And if you're missing a person, then the board could distribute monies and services without us even knowing about it. So this is a panel that's gonna be created. There's no cost to the county to create this, because there'll be existing staff that will appoint. And it is strongly recommended by the other 2 counties too.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Renee?
Yes.
On the board.
Yes. I want to address, line 24, where it says, the Human Service Board has initiated a hiring freeze. That does not explain, in fact, what's going on. And it sounds like they've stopped hiring people. What that means is they've stopped hiring full-time people at full wages and benefits, because there is no knowledge yet about what the new structure is going to be. So if you have a professional coming in to be a caseworker who's expecting to know what kind of structure they're being hired into, we don't have that yet. And the next steps of hiring a consultant and all of that is good, but until there's a decision made there, we literally can't hire a professional like we've been doing for years with benefits and full wages. They have not stopped hiring LTEs, and that is how they intend to fill the space until we do know what the structure is that they're being hired into. I'm concerned about this resolution, and I didn't know about this until I got here this morning, but when I got here, I found a text message from an employee of the Human Service Center, and not anybody that's on the board, just an employee. So what exactly does Resolution 106, when passed and signed, really mean? Because we are all feeling unincluded and controlled, not a way to get people to work for you. I am taking all my personal stuff home as soon as possible. I can't tell you how sad that makes me. That it's all well and good that we create a new and better structure, but the way that it's happened, the employees and the management of the Human Service Center and the board are out of the loop. So we can't tell. I mean, people are asking me, I can't tell them what the structure is going to be. They can't hire people without a structure to explain to them what they're being hired into. And, so we're doing stopgap methods as well as we possibly can. This is the end of my term on the county board. And to this date, nobody has asked me what my experience was in the real world before Oneida County Board. And my experience was in human resources and in retaining employees
I worked for a very large company that doubled its size by acquiring other companies. And the thing that they found was most important was hanging on to the employees, which was how they hung on to the clients. This doesn't even reflect the terror in the clients who are asking their caseworkers, what's going to happen? What's going on? What's going on at the county board? Do we get to keep you as our caseworker? These are people with at-risk children who have built a relationship with their caseworkers. And nobody can, I mean, I understand that we don't have the answers yet, but we have to be able to make stopgap measures to hang on to the employees that we do have. And unfortunately, this resolution doesn't sound like they're of much importance. We know that they are. I know you know that they are. But this isn't what the resolution is saying to them by what I just received by text this morning. So, knowing that nobody on our board, the Human Service Board, is going to be on the Oversight Board, there's nothing that we can do or say to ease their fears, because we don't know. I think there are some changes that could be made to this to make it less fearsome. But we're certainly not there yet. The letter that went out from the 3 county boards was a great start. It should have went out about a year ago to prevent some of this from happening. So we're playing catch up, and there's still a lack of information. And with that lack of information, until we have a structure in place that a consultant, which I'm assuming we're going to pass, is going to tell us is going to be a workable in the future structure, we can go forward full force. Right now, we're just playing catch up. We're trying to stop the tide. Human Service Center, as of yesterday, is down 10.5 positions. At least 7 of those have been since November 1st, when the letter from the tri-counties went out. So that hasn't been helping yet. Ted, what are the number of employees there? Is it 65? 50? Okay, so we're down about 14% of the staff now. And that's not going to get better until we have something concrete to tell them. It's going to get worse. And everybody, every one of the employees and everybody on the board is terrified, because we, as much as all of you, want to make sure that the clients are the ones taken care of. And we can't answer the clients' questions of what does this mean. We can tell them, yes, this is mandated. Yes, there's always going to be a service. We can't tell them if they're going to keep their caseworker. We don't know if the caseworker is going to stay on, or if as some of the employees who have left have said, it's become a toxic situation. I don't want any more of this, and they leave. So we can't tell them any answers.
Chairperson. All right, just a second. Corporation Counsel, will you answer that question about this?
Well, there's a number of questions. But I sort of the beginning of this motion was, I know that the staff brought forward a retention plan to retain employees through December 31st of 2024. And one of the concerns of the work group amongst the counties was that was bad. we need to retain employees through 2026, 2028. And so there seemed to be, from the administration of the Human Service Center standpoint, and I certainly Mayor, the sheriff can correct me if I'm wrong, that the Human Service Center was starting to look at that there was a close date, that there was an end date of December 31st, 2024. And there's nothing to end. It was heartbreaking when that resolution came forward to see folks, clients of the Human Service Center, coming and talking about how they were afraid that their services were going to end. And that's not what's happening. I know the letter, spoke to the employees and talked about how, one of the great things that the staff of the administration or the staff of the Human Service Center has is the relationship with their clients. And certainly, from a social services perspective, from a human service perspective, it's great if you understand, sort of the legal underpinnings of what you're doing, but where the services really meet the needs of the client are, the caseworker knowing what that client needs and being able to help that person access not just the service they qualify for, but the services that they need. And so, the idea, I think, behind this resolution is to ensure that December 31st, 2024 is not an end. It is going to continue thereafter. And I can't say every person who works for the Human Service Center today is going to be employed on January 5th, 2025. But I'll be surprised at those that aren't, because one of the things that I think brought this forward from the three counties, from the staff of the three counties bringing to the chairs, was that the clients, the people weren't getting what they needed from the current structure. And so that's what created this impetus to looking at the structure and making it better. The idea with this resolution is to ensure that there is, that there's a plan for January of 25, July of 25, July of 26, July of 27 moving forward. And I think that's what this is to ensure that, that county staff who's going to be coming into this understand what is going on as well. So this is to make sure that the county staff are involved, understand, and are able to ensure that it continues on. And I'll note that this doesn't invest the panel with monetary oversight, that monetary decisions are left to the three county boards, if that answers your question.
Yeah, you know what, I'm not concerned about the money, the money will be taken care of. I'm concerned about the clients who don't feel heard, who don't feel answered. And I feel my heart breaks for the staff who are getting up every day to do a difficult job, not knowing what the future structure of their organization is going to be, and still doing it day after day after day until I get, and believe me, I don't want to get these texts at home but I'm on the board. They don't know who else to ask. So it's like, what's with the resolution? This doesn't make me feel heard. This doesn't make me feel cared about. I'm taking my stuff home as soon as possible because that's how unsure that employee is. I'm saying there's a problem, and I've dealt with this problem in all of my career. And it is going to get worse before it gets better. If we have 15% of our staff, of our positions that are empty right now, the worst I've seen, for when it wasn't handled beforehand, people weren't informed what was going on, and this is how we're including it. And we don't know all the answers yet, but we are gonna take your concerns into consideration. The worst that I've seen when that wasn't done was 50% of the staff left. And with the 50% of the staff, and I'm talking about in the real world, this is not in county government. 50% of the clients left. And that's the kind of a vacancy that we could never return from. We could never build that back up again. Luckily, it was a very educational process because we did much better going forward in the information back and forth. But what I'm saying here, and the text proves the point, is we're not there yet. We are not talking to the employees, we are not considering their concerns, and we're leaving a very big void that is going to bite us in the long run. Because what happens after that, let's say, what is normal? I would say 25% of staff turnover might be normal in my experience. But when it gets to be much more than that, you build a reputation. Oneida County is ready to build a reputation as not a good place to work for. And that's gonna hurt not only this particular human service center, it's gonna hurt the sheriff's department. It's gonna hurt the highway department. It's going to reflect on everybody. That's the long-term damage. And besides that, what we haven't talked about is there is and again, I don't know the difference. I worked in the private sector. Where there was a constant fear, not fear, but threat of legal action. Class action suits of employees who didn't feel that they were treated right. And I don't know how different that is in county government. I know we've been sued before, but I'd hate to see it happen again when it's preventable.
Now you're done, Renee?
Sure.
Hey, just wait, Mary, would you send a letter out, the letter explains what she's just saying, contradicts what you sent out to the employees, correct? I mean, there is no staff, we're not reducing staff, we're not reducing services. This whole scare about, I'm worried about my job, they have jobs, and it will probably continue, we have to supply the services, so can you touch on this?
Yeah, the letter, I thought was pretty clear that, you know, we want to increase services. We're really not looking at reducing services. And in order to provide services, we need staff. And certainly the staff at the Human Service Center have the knowledge of the programs that they administer, plus they have the relationships, as we've talked about, with the people that they serve. So they're valuable employees. We all know that finding good employees is difficult in these days, so certainly it would not be in the county's interest to not look at staff that are currently providing those services. But like every county employee, and one of the reasons I'm here today is every year after the budget, I go, okay, good for another year for all of my staff. We can't guarantee employment, no county can. And I think that was part of the letter. But no county can say you are going to be employed for the next 50 years because we have a budget, we have services, they change, things happen. But certainly we see no major changes in programming except for to increase services. So therefore could possibly need more staff, but certainly aren't looking at major staff reductions.
Stephen, you had a question? Lenny, you had quite a while already.
Sure, I guess I would just address that line 24 regarding hiring freeze. I did not support that. I am on the Human Service Board. I felt this pretty much the same way that, Attorney Fugel kind of outlined it, which is, it felt like you're basically telling the people that are there, if you lose this person that's in a, cubicle next to you, we'll just bring in some temp to make it through and link to the end of next year. I don't really see, honestly, why the messaging that's coming from the services board is the way it is. And I disagree with a lot of the decisions that have been made. But this was one of the most fundamental ones, because for me, we have a contract in place with the Human Service Center until the end of next year. That means any and all services, any and all employees at the Human Service Center are more or less guaranteed a job through the end of next year. We're not, no one has been told at any point that, well, as things progress, we may start letting people go, we'll start cutting services, we'll start doing this. They keep talking about shuttering the place, closing the doors. And I'm not sure, I don't understand where this is coming from. I really don't, other than it feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy for me. When I'm sitting at that service board and hearing these things, and we're gonna address this a little later, I believe, but there's concerns about this retention plan and severance packages and the dollars that want to be allocated for that. I mean, Linnea even referenced the sheriff's department with the struggles with hiring. I don't know, this has been ongoing for I don't know how many years now, especially in corrections. There's no retention plan for corrections. There's no severance plan for the people that were in the jail system. They don't have, they don't even have a contract. Really, are they? I mean, it's just fairly recently that they can be folded into the whole, being a public, union employee thing if they want to. I mean, so what is it we're telling to the 300 people who work for the county in regards to, well, maybe we need a retention and severance package for everybody? I think that the messaging that goes out is the responsibility of the service board. And we try to do that. We try to be as open and as transparent about this process, but it doesn't help when people are, there. You ask, can Mary speak to that? No, it's not. She wasn't agendized. No. I asked, can we literally have a public comment period during our meeting? So if employees or clients or anyone else wants to speak to the concerns they may have, no, we don't see any value in having a public comment. We're not going to include it. Well, who's technically to blame then when this level of anxiety is now reaching this crescendo? And we're only how many weeks past the resolution we passed. And we're not alone. I mean, we weren't unanimous here, but my understanding is it was near unanimous or unanimous at all the other county boards. So we have to start acting like this is something that needs to be taken very seriously. I'm conflicted about the oversight because I need a few questions answered in regards to this resolution and the creation of it. Because does it have authority simply because it's in a resolution? Is there anything that prevents them from having any say over what happens, the decisions that are made by the Human Service Board? Because it seems like we're wording it so that they can more or less veto decisions that are made. I would want to know Does that authority come from us as a county or the tri-counties saying that we want to have that authority in place? Are we in conflict with anything statutorily in regards to the Human Service Board? I want some pretty confident guidance on that from somebody before I say yes to this, because I don't want to create another level of, folks telling other folks, no, you don't know what you're doing, or, don't worry about it. We're the ones in charge now. You know what I mean? So I guess I would like to start with that. I would like to know what is it that this oversight panel has as far as authority in regards to the Human Service Center Board?
So Stephen, on the second page is the operating procedure of that committee. Which specifically item are you talking about? Okay, you wanna, go ahead.
So all three tenants, we need to pass something for this oversight board to have the authority. That's what 27 through 31 says. This is the creation. 33 through 35 says that this panel will then make sure they know what asset, the financial structure, assets and liabilities of the Human Service Center. 37 and 38, the idea there is to ensure that contracts are being, one of the concerns is that the administration will only approve contracts through December 31st of 2024. And oftentimes these are multi-year contracts. And so the desire is to continue those multi-year contracts and make sure that they're appropriate.
Can I ask a question then just specific to?
Yes.
So when does that panel step in regarding the contracts? At the end of next year?
As soon as all three counties have passed a resolution investing this panel with that power, is when that panel can then go in essence, look at the contracts and say, how come these aren't, it provides the panel with the ability to determine and to ensure that human services are being provided beyond the 31st. Because no one wants to get to January 1st, 2025, and there aren't any providers who have a current contract.
I guess fundamentally what it comes down to in my mind is, then what purpose does the Human Service Center Board serve?
Well, the administration approves the contracts. I don't think those contracts are individually brought before the board. This is not oversight for the board as much as it's to provide the counties, which will be continuing with the Human Service Center structure in some way, shape, or form, with the understanding of what is occurring, so that it's not walking in on the 1st of January 25 and figure this out. So that also goes to, there's a concern that grants that would extend beyond December 2024, that those wouldn't be applied for because that's not for the Human Service Center. The counties want to ensure that that grant funding continues beyond December 2024. The 44 through 46, the idea there is that the board approves funds and funding relative to the existing services. 4850 is that continued hiring and recruitment, don't just go with LTEs, because one, is more difficult to recruit LTEs. The counties are interested in having people who are employees so that that can continue after that date. 51 through 53 references the procedures, 55 through 56, that the panel updates the county boards monthly, as Marietta, has been doing. And 58 through 60 is that the counties are taking back any idea of retention and severance to ensure that that is uniform across the counties and consistent with what the counties want. And frankly, retention through December 31st, 2024 doesn't benefit the counties at all. Retention of employees through 25, 26, 27 is what ensures that those services can continue. So that's the short version of what each of those paragraphs address. If that answers your question, I don't know if Mary or the sheriff who've been involved in this have any further context to provide.
Are we, and then we have certainty that in no way does the department of,
I gotta finish this.
that oversees the statewide has any objection to this oversight panel, and the fact that it will more or less be overseeing the Human Service Center and how it's run. That's not a conflict statutorily in any way. I mean, that's what I need assurance is we're not creating something because we're just not feeling that the board itself is doing what it should be doing.
Yeah, I really see this as more of a transition panel. So we're gonna be transitioning from whatever structure we have now to whatever structure that we have. And I see this panel as being somebody really overseeing that transition. How is that transition going? What does it look like going from December 31st to January 1st? If the counties decide to go with a human service department structure, actually, it is recommended that you have a panel that's overseeing that process. And this panel could be used for that as well. So, no, I don't see a conflict with it at all.
I would like to add that this resolution was because of the other two counties getting a hold. A team of members between all three counties got together and said, we have to create this in the best interest of Oneida County to oversee and be updated what's happening. You're having meetings, we don't know what you guys are doing over there. We have 7 representatives from the 3 counties on there, we have 7 other ones. So is it in the best interest of the county or the best interest of the Human Service Department? We need to watch out for the counties. And that's why this committee is being, our staff is being presented. Rob, you had your hand up.
I just want to share a life experience as a parent that I think maybe will help us understand employees. I had a daughter that couldn't sleep at night. And I went in and told her, I said, you know, honey, that's okay, don't worry about it. Talked to the school psychologist the next day, I said, told her what I told my child. School psychologist, I said, Rob, that doesn't help her. The next time you go and talk to her, if she says she can't sleep, tell her, you know, that's okay. I have the same concerns when I go to sleep. Taking a positive attitude, change that. I don't know what's being told to these employees. I hope they're being told the glass is half full, not half empty. And this is a great opportunity, and to tell our clients, it's not gonna change. Change is difficult, but I think the sentiment right now far exceeds the reality of what's gonna happen. And this committee, hopefully this panel can really see that to make sure those messages are going to our clients. Things will be okay if we tell them they're gonna be okay. If we tell them the sky's falling, they're gonna believe it. Thank you.
Any other comments? Ted?
You know, the bus left the depot about 3 months ago. That's when, I don't want to say the hammer fell, but that's when the resolution was passed. Unfortunately, the bus left the depot without a lot of answers. Virtually none. No plan in place, nothing. I personally think that, we have a resolution coming up to fund a consulting firm to make recommendations to the county. What do we need this for until we find out what the consulting firm comes up with? I made a motion at that meeting, by the way, to include the head of Human Service Center on the consulting, and it was voted down. I don't know why the hell we don't want to use any of the knowledge from people. Are they afraid we're gonna be negative to them? This doesn't make sense to me. And I know that I'm prejudiced because I've been on the Human Service Center for, I think, almost 20 years. And there is a concern about the clients, there is a concern about families. If you're sitting there, what am I gonna do? I've got 2 kids, I got 3 kids, what should I do? There was a state statute that was brought up that said, your job is guaranteed. Has any more work been done investigating that? I don't believe so. And why not? So all I can tell you is that I don't think this should be in front of us now. I think it should be in front of us after the consulting firm comes and makes a recommendation to the counties.
Billy?
I'll try to be really brief. First of all, thank you, Ted and Lene and Stephen for being on that board. And thank you, Stephen, for having the link to yesterday's meeting sent out. I had the opportunity to listen in, and I'd encourage anyone moving forward to listen in to see some of the challenges that are had. I look at it, having been on here, that a lot of times we're wiggling the plug, looking to pull the plug on this, on the Human Service Center. And then it got to a point where we just yanked it out. Should we have had some of these answers beforehand? Yes, we didn't, but we're recognizing what we need to do. I see this committee as being an important tool to move things forward. But we can't ignore the perceptions out there. You're exactly right, in my opinion, Rob, as well as Stephen, of like, we need, the message is not being delivered or perceived the right way. And Lene, thank you for bringing those concerns forward. We can't ignore those perceptions and what's going on there. When I listened to that meeting yesterday, I called Stephen and go, oh my God, thank you for being on that committee. There's a lot going on there. And there is, but we can't ignore it. You know, you talked about the letter that went out and, oh, this was a good letter and a positive. I gotta tell you, at the meeting, there were some people that portrayed it as adding to the confusion. That needs to be cleared up real quick. They had a presentation from someone from Sickich, and she had some great information, especially dealing with communication. And I think that's where it starts, the communication. Something's wrong there. Because you have an administrator at a public meeting saying, you know, the world's coming to an end. When, like Stephen said, there's a full year of employment guarantee. These services are mandated. The people are always going to need these services. We need to start guaranteeing not only the people that are working there that we're going to still have these services moving forward, but the people that use it. It's ludicrous to me that they think, you know, everything's gonna be out, but I understand it, and the reality is that's the perception that needs to be fixed. I think this committee, as well as the next resolution, help moving those things forward. It would have been ideal to have done it before we pulled the plug. This is where we're at. I'm an optimist. We need to start portraying a more positive thing. We have very good people, and one other thing, Scott, just with this resolution was brought up at that meeting. Some people perceive the makeup of the committee by the numbers from each county, that I perceive they were saying, oh, Oneida County is gonna run the show. I don't believe that's what's gonna occur. I think we just use numbers based on how the allotment was with the arrangement of funding of them. But I think it's important that you and your counterparts from the other 2 counties work directly with that committee and that administration to understand the concerns and get them definitive answers so we can get out from under this dark cloud. So that's my comment.
I will point out the other counties are in favor of this, and none of the counties brought up that Oneida would have 4 on, Violence would only have 2 on Forest Lawn. They're in favor of an oversight to follow and report to the county board what's going on at that department.
Well, I think it's important that, you know, what we say in this room is great, but it doesn't get out from this room. Someone needs to be there with the administration from the counties and deliver the message and answer the questions that are being asked. I don't think it's up to our representative to say, this is what I think, probably, blah, blah, blah. They need definitive answers. And this is a time for leadership to shine, not to sit there, oh, woe is me.
Anybody else? It's clerk will call the roll.
Kelly,
Aye.
Winkler,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Cushing,
No,
Rio,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Oninger,
Aye.
Dryer,
Aye.
Condado,
Aye.
Dorgle,
Aye.
Newman,
Nay.
Roach,
Aye.
Bryden,
Aye.
Harris. Aye. Almekender,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Kowinski,
Aye.
16 aye, 2 noes, 3 absent,
16 aye, 2 no,
3 absent.
3 absent. Resolution 106 passes. Resolution 107, 2023, offered by Supervisor Jim Winkler to provide funding to hire a consultant to study and plan for continuation of services following the December 31st, 2024 withdrawal of Forest, Oneida, and Vilas County from the Tri-County Human Service Board. We'll need a second on the resolution.
I'll second.
We have a second. Jim? Yes, we have, the resolution before you is to move forward with getting a consultant, and I'm gonna turn this over to Mary to be a little bit more intimately involved with it.
Yeah, so we sent out, 3 requests for, qualifications, to consultants that had, background in either social, services or county government. We did receive 2 proposals, back. And we reviewed those with our counterparts in the other counties. And we do have, a consultant that, we are interested in, contracting with. The total, cost that we're asking for is $50,000. And the other counties have indicated that they certainly would be paying their share. Oneida County would contract with a consultant and then ask for, Vilas and Forest, to pay their portion as we went along. Would like this to start next week if possible. I do have a meeting scheduled with the consultant to see if they're on board, and ready to go. So, if this board passes resolution, I think we can get started.
Question for Jim. Ted.
I got this thing in my inbox today. Pat Court's name on it. Was he one of the ones that,
Yes.
is he a finalist?
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to release names yet, but that he is one of the 2 that.
That's good.
Yes.
He did a study for the Human Service Center 3 years ago, so he understands it completely.
Tony.
The $50,000, we know that, the other counties would pay their share. Where's that coming from? Is that, where is that money coming from Oneida County? Is that coming from social services, general fund? What?
General fund says, funding,
Contingency fund.
contingency thing, says on there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Is the 50,000 the total amount, and then we'll get back from the other 2 counties?
Correct.
Okay.
And I believe, both the other counties are having that on their county board agendas to pass the funding. I believe Vilas is today too.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see, I can't guarantee it, but I'm almost sure the other counties will pass their resolutions. Any further discussion? Stephen?
Well, this came up in discussion yesterday at the joint meeting of their administration and operations committee regarding the return of some tax levy. They had more or less been waiting to hear from the audit because this would be a return from the 2022 levy. Their audit office basically said, you know, we've had some issues, blah, 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 and we should have it to you by the end of the month. we decided to move that forward to the full source human service board, that we would make good on paying that. So regardless of the fact that they've not officially received, you know, it's still technically referred to as a draft audit. We're making good on that payment, so we can anticipate, I believe it's 320. I can't remember, or maybe that was a combined amount of the three, yeah, two something for Oneida County. Which I guess I wanted to ask the finance director, when we receive that amount, does that go into the general fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we could then appropriate whatever amount this is for this out of that returning dollars at some point.
Stephen, it's already budgeted as a contingent, we're gonna take it out of contingency, so that, and I believe that money was put into the budget, but we're not sure we're gonna receive it. Tina, is that correct?
Right, it is already budgeted as a revenue to be removed in the contingency budget.
Okay.
So it is, if you pass resolution 110, it will be appropriated. We did put it into the 2024 budget because it was unknown whether or not it would be received in 2024 or 2023.
And then Stephen, just one question, I understand the motion at the Human Service Board was to send that money back, but there wasn't, the motion didn't say contingent on an audit. Somebody decided to add that in there, I guess, and hold on to the money. So we're not sure.
Not yesterday.
I know. Anyway, any further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Condado,
Aye.
Sorrel,
Aye.
Roach,
Aye.
Olmekender, Newman,
Aye.
Winkler,
Aye.
Harris, Fisher,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Rio,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Ottinger,
Aye.
Dryden,
Aye.
Schreier,
Aye.
Cushing,
Aye.
Malowinski,
Aye.
18 aye, 3 absent.
18 aye, 3 absent. Resolution 107 passes. Resolution 108. Offered by the supervisors of Labor Relations Employee Service Committee to create a full-time technical support position for the sheriff's office. Ted?
Good morning. I brought the rating, to background on this, but basically due to the workload and things going on, they are looking for an additional, technical support position, but Brady can give you some details.
This is my 11th budget that we're coming forward with. I've never asked for a position before that would increase the levy. This time I did. We studied this issue carefully. The workload up front. These people do the open records requests and typing and the data management and things like that. Workload has increased to the point where I felt it necessary to ask for an additional staff member. And yeah, I appreciate your support on it.
Questions? Anybody? Billy?
Is this gonna be funded out of your budget, or are you asking for additional wages?
This is additional billing.
And then you said, it's due to workload, and one of those was open records request. Do you charge for open records requests?
We charge what we can charge. Sometimes you can charge location fees, sometimes you can't. You can charge for some copy, things like that, but typically the government is eating the cost on most of the open records money. I want to take that first question back. That money for the technical support is built into the budget that was approved at that and it's committed. So it's not additional to what we proposed.
So could I take it like next year when you ask for a dollar amount? It would include all your staffing. What I'm looking at is, I've always looked at it that we authorize funds for your department that you pretty much can use at your discretion. Correct?
Kind
A simplified view.
Kind of, but the, county board controls the staffing level of the sheriff's office, for sure.
If you did not have this position next year, would you be asking for less money?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Anybody else questions?
I've got one.
Go
Scott,
ahead.
what percent of the budget is the sheriff's department?
46, maybe higher.
I thought it was in the 60s.
If you add in emergency management, which you guys combine me, yeah, we're the
65.
majority of the budget, yes. We're the highest.
Anybody questions? So Grady, I got a question. So we've had 5 deputy openings since they started, I think, in last February. And over the last 5 years, we've probably been short at least 1 to 1.5 deputy, if not 2 per year. Is this a chance that we could eliminate one of the deputy positions, because you haven't filled them in 5 years, all the deputy positions, and create this? Because I'm looking at the wages and benefits and how much they're jumping, and by adding another administration to it, just increases that amount of money, and I don't foresee how we're going to balance the budget going down the road with these increases carry on year after year after year. You can see when we did a 2.3% increase with the wages, what that amount was, and if you would triple that for 6 point whatever, but the number just escalates with wages and benefits. And by adding more people, is there a way within your department that you can shift it? Maybe there's some things that aren't as important to do that could be shifted over to this position for the drug cases or whatever.
That's a long question, but, I would not suggest cutting a deputy position currently. I would not do that right now. We currently have 1 vacant deputy position only. I anticipate 2 more retirements coming up in January. We'll get a new chief deputy. With what we're seeing on the streets and within the jail, I think the county board would be foolish to cut a deputy position right now.
Rob?
Yeah, I think the factor that gets involved in there is when the sheriff's department is not fully staffed with deputies, it's gonna increase his need for the overtime budget. So if we ever got to the point where he was fully staffed across the board, you might see a little reduction in overtime. But having said that, a number of us are at the town level, we're always asking the sheriff's department for more. You know, why can't you come out and enforce our speed limits or whatever? So I think the needs that we have as a county with our sheriff's department certainly warrant the current staffing levels.
Any other discussion? Steven?
Is the workload for this particular position predicated to any degree on the number of prisoners that we house?
Maybe a little, you could argue that, maybe just a little bit. I mean, we do see an influx in, not influx, but we do see more reports for different crimes that occur within the jail. I don't think that's a significant area that we're seeing.
Anybody else? Tony?
And this is my own ignorance, I fully admit that. The technical support, is that just a I hate to say, like, is it just a paperwork position, reports, that sort of thing, or does that also, when I hear technical support, I think back to my IT days, does that also include some of that too, or?
No, no, it's, I didn't name it that, it was, I inherited that title, but they work the front desk, they do the open records requests, the accident reports, they manage the data. They take the officers' reports, things like that. They are coming in and working overtime every day. These are more support staff that don't necessarily want to do that. They're chipping in and doing it, of course. Your officers and your deputies and your corrections officers, they're more your overtime people. They want to work from overtime. Front staff, not necessarily the.
Okay, so it's more like an administrative support.
Administrative, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else, questions? Right, I kind of worry about moving forward, creating a new position at this time, and I know that most people would consider this is a core service that we need to support, and that I believe it will probably pass today on this county board, but just a question for you, let's say 2 years down the road, interest rates go down, we don't have enough funds, you're in the 60% of our budget. Will you be able to cut stuff within there?
We have cut things over the years and those pockets of money have dried up. I think we had 17 years of 0% operating increases, maybe 18. You guys have to remind me, but at some point, those pools get eaten up and they get spent in other areas. The county board certainly, through their efficiency study, has decided what's important to them and what's more important than other things. Our stuff, I think in the top 10 of those efficiencies study, I think we have 7 or 8 of them that we're running. So we're doing some important stuff, but again, there are things that this county board can cut. You have to decide what level of service that you want to give. As long as I have the floor, I was studying the Green Book through this budget process, and I know a lot of the budget stuff is moving and those type of things. But Meta County's in really good shape. If you look at where the county tax per $1,000 of equalized value, Meta County's ranked number 5 as of last year. Of those 5, the other 4, Waukesha, Ozaki, Vilas, I forget the 4th. Those all do not run a countywide ambulance. Those are all have city and town run ambulances. If you added the ambulance money into that dollar amount, I suspect that Meta County might be number 1 in tax rate. So we've done some really good work. The department head of the county board, of course, being conservative and running a tight budget and going forward, we're in good shape, you guys.
Any other questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Newman. Aye. Almakinder.
Aye.
Cushing.
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Condado.
Aye.
Harris. Aye. Sorgal.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Roach.
Aye.
Schreier.
Aye.
Rios.
Yes.
Ryden.
Aye.
Freed.
Nay.
Winkler.
Aye.
Ottinger.
Aye.
Palawinski.
No.
15 aye, 2 no, 3 absent.
69, 2 no, 3 absent. Resolution 108 passes. A resolution 109 offered by supervisors of the Labor Relations Employee Services Committee to provide a general wage increase for general municipal employees. Ted, please.
What is in front of you is calculated within the budget that you'll be talking about shortly. This number is developed by the Labor Relations Committee in looking at the Wisconsin Employment Relations Commission. That was a recommendation to us from WCA when Act 10 was implemented. And we have used that number since then, and it's been up, it's been down. Employees have gotten a 0.7% wage increase, and last year they got a 7.17% increase. So this is looking at January of 2024, what that increase should be, and they're recommending 6.26%.
Okay, questions for Lisa, discussion? Jim?
Hi, Lisa, this past several days, I've been making some phone calls into the community to different businesses, and most of these are private, these are non-governmental businesses. But the average rate of increase in the county from what I've been hearing and what I've been asking of CEO is somewhere between 2% and 4%. About a 3% maybe average. And I know your COLA is 6.26. And I'm just thinking with I know employees, we have employees that are very valuable, I understand that. But I just question, can we continue to run at a 6% rate increase when much of our community is falling? I don't know what the school district is, I never did ask them, but they seem to always be higher. It's just a question I throw out, and I don't know, maybe Jeff, you might have, I don't know if you have any information what wages are as far as increases in salaries. And
I don't know if I can comment here.
okay, all right. But that's what I've been finding when I've been calling around companies.
Any other comments? Billy?
Yeah, I mean, Jim, you're right. I mean, the perception out there when you look at the numbers here, the last 2 years of Oneida County may exceed dramatically in some cases to what you see elsewhere. It's something I think we fought, or I should say debated about 2 years ago at the budget process. And we've kind of been under this dome of, I think, trying to retain and attract people. And it's been important to kind of stay on pattern with the CPI number we've used. It's worked to the employees' advantages the last few years. I expect over a cycle of time, it'll probably be to their disadvantage. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, if we can't afford it, we can't afford it. I'm happy to say we got a budget here where we're able to offer, I think, a very fair package to our employees to hopefully retain and attract new people here. Can we do it next year? I don't know. Scott's outlined a lot of the challenges that are snowballing a little bit. And I expect this, as well as some other things, is things we might have to look at when we find that we don't have the monies to do it. But I think in this climate, it's I can defend it to our constituents because we are fighting to retain people. And there, in my perception, is there's just more and more demand on our services here. So it's a strange time. But I don't think now would be a good time to question it.
Anybody else? Nobody? Local call.
Winkler?
Thank you.
Sorry.
Well, I have to agree, we need our employees, I'll say yes.
Rio,
Yes.
Freed,
Aye.
Newman. Aye. Harris. Aye. Fisher,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Sorrel,
Aye.
Roach,
Aye.
Condado. Aye. Ottinger,
Aye.
Ryden,
Aye.
All McKinder. Kelly,
Aye.
Cushing,
Aye.
Schreier,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Halawinski,
No.
17 aye, 1 no, 3 absent.
17 aye, 1 no, 3 absent. Resolution 109 passes. Resolution 110, 2003, offered by supervisors of the administration committee to approve the 2024 budget and 2023 tax levy collected in 2024. Billy?
I will want to offer a motion. I don't know if it has to be before or after this resolution that deals with some strategies to face the challenges ahead. My comment is, again, thank you to the administration committee, the staff, and actually all supervisors that work in your committees to oversee your budgets. The chairman talked at the beginning of the meeting and during the public hearing about some of the challenges that we face. And those that have been around here, it seems at every budget hearing, we go, hey, we brought you a balanced budget, but next year we got the challenges. And it is gonna catch up to us. But it's not like there aren't ideas or strategies in place to look at things. The sheriff mentioned the report, what was it called again? Efficiency study. We have that, we have some good information with that. I mean, ideally, you know, when you run out of money, you got to start looking at things that aren't mandated services and those we call the low hanging fruit that we'd have to look at. We'll have to look at some of our policies and some of the benefit packages, but at least right now, we've been able to maintain the path we've been going on, and I think everyone should be proud of that. And I think there are some things that can be put in place to help us with those strategies next year. One of those is I need to talk to the administration committee, but we would be presenting budget numbers to individual departments that you need to attain to meet the budget next year, as opposed to always giving us the wish list and then administration spends 3 days picking through the budget. I think there's a balance that can be achieved in there along the way. Also getting you more information as supervisors throughout the year. And if this, or after this resolution's voted on, I have a motion to ask for the finance director to provide quarterly reports of the county's budget, a summary report of the county's budget to us, so we can track it not only as a whole, but you can keep an eye on it as you're going through things with your committee, so that in the next year we can come with a well vetted budget for everyone. But again, thank you to Stephen Schreier, Russ Fisher, Ted Cushing, Tom Kelly that served on the administration committee in the 3 days of the budget hearings.
You're welcome.
And let's not forget you for leading us through that. That is magic. I am serious about that. Good job.
Any other discussion? Billy, the agenda item is just to approve the 2024 budget and the tax levy. I think the administration committee can come back and designate Tina to supply without a motion on the county board floor.
Okay.
Okay. Any discussion on the budget? Steven?
Yeah, on line 24 and 25, it references specific dollar amount there, allocation for the Human Service Center. If I don't know about you guys, maybe it would help to just have a little explanation about that, because that would be what we would normally have allocated to as a grant to the Human Service Center and what's going on there.
I could probably answer that. So, the 3 counties figured that the, Human Service Center is sitting on over $5 million excess money, which basically is probably the county's money. So we decided that instead of funding the additional 2024 fund, that they would use some of that excess money to cover what we would have gave them. But we also did put that money in contingency because of the possibility we might need it besides.
So when it, sorry.
Tina, you want to verify that with me?
Right, that's correct. And the reason you're seeing it called out specifically in this resolution, and which is a little different than prior years, is because the administration held 3 days of public hearings, before Vilas and Forest completely eliminated the funding in 2024 for HSC. So we had to take this action after the fact. So that's why it's in this resolution. So admin committee had made motions. I had amended the budget document. Then admin committee came back after the budget hearings and then adopted this resolution. So it's a little bit of housekeeping so that the funding can still be in the budget, but be in contingency versus as a grant directly to HSC.
And is it line item a specific for them? So it's contingency, but it, at least the way I read it, contingency dash human services transition.
It is line item for human services transition, which may or may not result in funding for the human service center specifically, but for that particular restriction, and because it's in contingency, administration committee has to approve any disbursements from it.
All right, thank you.
Any other discussion on the budget?
I'm just out of curiosity, and feel free to answer or not, based on what you do or don't know, but do you know if Vilas and Forest County do the same thing with the dollars? Did they put them in a contingency, or did they just budget as $0 to the?
Vilas did, from what I understand in my conversations with Darcy, I didn't review any of their legislation that was approved or not approved, but in my conversations with Nora and Darcy, both other counties had put some funding in contingency for the transition.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions on the budget? Nobody? I'm going to make a motion to decrease the sheriff's department's budget by $22,780 for eliminating the dive team funding out of the budget. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mike Roach seconded. That doesn't eliminate any personnel. Doesn't eliminate the personnel, it eliminates the funding in the dive teams. Oh, Billy?
Dive team, UW extension, so on and so forth over the years, I've heard Ian mention, actually have inquired on some of these things during the budget hearings.
Well, we're not with this guy.
Oh, you had to bring that up, huh? I just feel unless there's really good, strong reasons to make decisions here today without them being properly vetted, we have a good budget here, we really do. We built in more money in the contingency than we ever have. We have a lot of things that are in flux. And that's why probably more than any time I've been on this board, that I feel comfortable going into a year with a budget that not only meets the needs as requested by your committees, but also has some wiggle room for some of the challenges that we know are coming in 24. So I do not support your motion. I understand where it's coming from, and it's something that, like we talked about previously, with the challenges ahead for 25 and on, will probably be vetted very strongly when we sit here, or for those of us that sit here a year from now.
Any further discussion? Stephen?
I think as uncomfortable it is to put that thought into people's heads, but without a dive team, you need to recognize what that option is for finding people who drown. It's a role with a big look on the end. So you're telling your constituents' families, if that event, tragic event should ever happen, we're just going fishing. That's why, amongst many other things, we have this service. And there is no way in the world I would ever support reducing this from our budget.
Dude. Turn my mic on. I have to agree with Stephen. I don't see how in a county with this many bodies of water, you can get rid of the dive team. I mean, we say that, you know, well, we're just looking at reducing, at taking the funding away, not getting rid of the dive team, but we operate without any funding. I'd also like to hear, if we're going to consider this and vote on it, what the sheriff thinks about it and what the liability is to services to citizens. And as Stephen said, I don't wanna go fishing for dead bodies. That doesn't sound like a good time. You know, I don't know, I perfectly understand the whole concern about the budget and going forward and where there can be cuts made, but to me, this, even though it's not a mandated service, it seems like a core service, and considering where we live and the makeup of the county, I mean, if we wanna start talking about cuts, you know, that's fine, let's start talking about, you know, a planning and development office in Minocqua. Let's start talking about, you know, what Ted mentioned about Minocqua Dispatch, but there's other things before you start talking about services like that. That's a public safety thing to me, so, but I'd like to hear what the sheriff has to say about it.
Grady, why don't you come up on here?
Sorry.
Do you still have the hook?
I still sat in the front, yes, I do still have the hooks.
Do you recover bodies even if that is deducted and will you just be using hooks to drag them out? Or will you have diving equipment yet?
I haven't considered what we'll do without it. We will survive and we would find a way to professionally recover bodies. I was asked this morning, as a matter of fact, not by a county board member, but by somebody else, how many people have we saved since the dive team was started? Before I was the sheriff, it started, by the way. We haven't saved anybody. It's typically a recovery effort, although we've been to a number of, we go to thin ice calls regularly, especially in the spring. Early winter, but mostly in the spring. The dive team just talked about getting cut a lot. I'm getting worn down on it. But I do wonder what the next thing would be if that goes, what the next thing I'm gonna fight with you guys about, so. Yeah.
Just a question, Grady. I know some of our Newbold Fire Department people are also involved in rescue type stuff.
Yes.
Do they submit a bill to the sheriff's department for reimbursement?
No, Newbold applies their own, they pay for most of those guys are volunteers, they get a small stipend.
And see, that's the thing I wanted to say, volunteer. Is there a way that the guy could become volunteer?
Doubtful. We're thin, and public safety committees heard this from me numerous times when we're talking ambulance and fire stuff. The volunteer, the paid on call ambulance stuff is antiquated and it's going away. Maybe not in my career, but down the road, it's going away. The fire departments, they struggle for people. There's a few that aren't, but most of them are struggling pretty good.
Any other questions for Grady? Go ahead, Ted.
Brady, can you find that money in your budget?
For non-food.
You have to train him better than that.
He's on it so full.
Grady, you're still gonna go out and do the recoveries no matter what, right?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Mike?
Grady, the reason, I love your brother, but the reason why I second that motion is because I'm looking at a couple motions that I probably should have voted no on. And the reason I'm thinking this, or I'm on the fence, is that every school board resolution, I tell my wife who's on the school board, it always passes, it just almost passes by a great big margin. But more people said no, even if I believe in that school budget, makes people think more on that school board and on that school superintendents, wow, people are watching us. And I want you to know, that's why I want to second this, because you have this big plethora of our budget. But I would argue that you are probably the most important part of the county that I care about, is the safety and well-being of the people that live in it. But it doesn't mean that we just always say yes overwhelmingly without making you're a great politician and you're a friend of mine. I like the way you presented yourself on that. I vote you got me, I was gonna vote no, and you changed my vote to yes on the earlier position. But we have to be able to say, we wanna make you think about the budget, and I know you do, but that's why I voted the second that, because we gotta figure a way to, there's a lot of other places I'd like to cut than your area, that's for sure. But that's why I seconded it, just because everybody always says, yeah, for that reason, but we want you to always be thinking, oh crap, a couple of people are saying no, better think about this tag team.
Well, the dive team's a service that the county board asked for, back in Jeff Hoffman, when the girl that was trapped into the snowmobile went through Lake Tomahawk. And we were scrambling to try to save her. I was back on the road in those days. And there were some thoughts, hey, maybe we can save some lives, was the thought behind it. That's what the county board, I believe, at that time was thinking. Yeah, I pretty much think budget just about every day, and I know the county's budget pretty well, and I do feel like, I think the dive team's ranked 183rd out of 283, I believe, if my memory serves me right. I wonder about the 100 that's underneath that.
Me too.
Any other questions? Okay, clerk will call it all. Okay, all Crystal wants, who has it? Crystal, but I think he wants. I don't think so, Crystal, we'll call you if we wanted to. Okay. Any other questions on the budget? I mean, I'm sorry, on my motion to amend the budget. Clerk will call the roll.
Reed,
No.
Cushing,
No,
Kelly,
No.
Rio,
No.
Almakinder,
No.
Schultz,
No.
Winkler,
No,
Fisher,
No.
Newman,
No,
Ottinger,
Aye.
Jensen,
No.
Roach,
Aye.
Ryden,
No.
Condado, no. Schreier,
No.
Zorgel,
No.
Harris, no. Palawinski,
Aye.
Three aye, 15 no, 3 absent.
3 aye, 15 no, 3 absent. The motion fails. I mean,
oh no, I.
No, no.
That was a training program for future county boards on the budget hearing, so you guys could see what really is supposed to happen when we get in trouble. I didn't think it was gonna pass either. Any other corrections to the budget? Jim?
how can we add $200,000 into the budget for a leadership position that we were going to talk about in the SWOT analysis, and that has been postponed? So I would like to make a motion that we deduct that $200,000 that we were putting toward a
Point of order for a second, just to clarify.
He's not done with his motion yet.
I'm trying to think of the name of it, coordinator position. County coordinator, or county advisor, administrative committee, whatever it is,
Administrative coordinator.
administrative coordinator position.
Or administrator.
Or administrator.
Jim had a motion, is there a second?
I need clarification on that motion. Sorry.
I probably did it wrong, so,
Okay.
yeah, you could.
Okay, read the motion.
Motion by Winkler to reduce the budget by $200,000 for the administrator or administrative coordinator.
And I just wanted to clarify with
Gina,
Gina, is that the correct amount? I don't even, I thought I saw that in there.
200,000 is what's in the budget. Okay, is there a second to the motion?
Did Supervisor Schreier's comment mean a second? Parliamentary procedure wise, he spoke on it, does that mean it's a second? There's a motion, supervisor responded, there you are, what is it?
I understand.
Seconded, so we can discuss it.
He has claimed it as a second.
Okay,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Tina, could you come to the front, please? Could you explain what kind of a fund that 200,000 is put into?
Sure, it's not actually in the form of a salary position, so there's no wages and benefits. It's a $200,000 allocation or in the contractual category in contingency. Any spending from the contingency business unit does have to be approved by administration committee before funds can be dispersed.
And then, so if the administration committee studied, then there would be no use for the administration committee to study it and move forward with it, because there'd be no funding for the position moving forward.
You know, we wouldn't need the money, right?
Well, the money would be just like we got X amount in a rainy day fund in case something happens.
But it's in the proposed 2024 budget, correct?
And so is the money for the Human Service Center that we're not giving them. It's in the budget. It's in there. I think it would be a mistake to pull it out at this point, but.
One thing we would consider.
You didn't want to pull now, and that's naked players.
Huh?
You didn't want to pull now.
It would be 2/3 vote.
If we had $4,000 in the budget,
All right.
and it is not going to be decided, but by your group in 2024, why do we need to do that?
All right, I'm gonna have a corporation council, state the effects that this motion would do.
So I just want to be certain there are no unintended consequences. If this $200,000 is removed, and later on the determination is to go ahead and hire a person for that position, this vote would in essence then require the hiring to be a 2/3 vote, because you would have to then amend the budget to add that money back in. Is that, so I just want to be clear, because I think y'all need to know that.
Okay, Jim?
Can I clarify myself then? I'm still trying to figure this out myself, but, I thought we were going to discuss the SWOT and make a recommendation before we finalize the 2024 budget. That's what I came today to do. And then when Billy had this motion to have that go to the administration committee, which won't happen until 2024, through the how many ever months that he gathers information, we will make a decision on a governance until 2025 anyway, correct?
And that's how this works. Billy made a motion, the county board passed this, and so the SWOT discussion ended at that point to go to that committee.
Correct.
All right,
So why do we need the extra $200,000 in the budget?
well, I think it's pretty plain to see if we decide to hire one of those positions, the money's in the budget.
Okay, well, I thought we were looking at wanting to reduce that, so I was giving the option.
Any further discussion? Billy, you got your hand half up.
Yeah, I'll just clarify, and I'll try to be real brief. When the administration committee considered the budget, the SWOT analysis was underway. The chairman made it clear that he wanted to have something available should the county want to move in that direction. We got the summary. I didn't think it would be prudent to go through the summary and try to get direction as a group of 21 today. Therefore, I made that motion to move it to admin.
I understand.
And I expect that there'll be some options presented to this county board by mid-year, if not in the first quarter.
I have a whole bunch of.
Yeah, so I think it would be prudent to keep it in there. If it doesn't get used, it's gaining interest and it can be rolled over or dispersed into the proper place when that determination's been made.
Okay, all right.
But I do appreciate your thoughts.
Well, I can withdraw that motion now if you want me to. No, let's vote on it. All right. Well, any further discussion? Clerk will call the roll on the motion.
Dryer,
No.
no,
No.
thank you. Rio,
No.
Zorgo,
Nay.
Reed,
Nay.
Condado,
Nay.
Ottinger,
Aye.
Winkler,
Aye.
Fisher,
No.
Schultz,
No.
Olmekinder,
No.
Harris,
No.
Cushing,
No,
Roach, Jensen,
No.
Ryden,
No.
Newman,
no,
Kelly,
No.
Palawinski,
No.
two aye, 16 no, 3 absent,
Was that 16?
16. no.
16, okay. 2 ayes, 16 no, 3 absent, the motion fails. Any further discussion on the budget? Anybody? Take the call roll on the budget.
Winkler,
Aye.
Rio,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Newman, aye. Harris, aye. Fisher,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Sorrel,
Aye.
Roach,
Aye.
Condado,
Aye.
Ottinger,
Aye.
Ryden,
Aye.
Olmekinder,
Aye.
Kelly,
Aye.
Cushing,
aye,
Dryer,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Palawinski,
Aye.
18 aye, 3 absent.
18 aye, 3 absent, resolution 110, 2003 passes. The next meeting date will be January 16, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. With that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Happy New Year.